thank you very much once again for being here. Absolutely looking forward to our presentation today. Just as a reminder, our next meeting will be next Friday, September 29th, here at 11:30 at our same location. And hope to see you here, be there, be square. And then from there, I wanted to make some mention about our 75th anniversary celebration, 75 years of excellence that Dearworth Rotary has been providing to Rotary International and to Mecklenburg County, and with a great legacy of leaders, men and women who are our members and have been members of this amazing club. So I'm really excited and looking forward to Thursday, November 9th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. That we'll be hosting our 75th anniversary, and we got a lot of logistics settled with the event. Tickets will be $35 per person for the event. It is going to be an amazing time, and we're really excited and looking forward to everyone that will be in attendance and supporting the Dearworth South End Rotary Club and us celebrating 75 years. That's really big when you think about that number and what everyone has done over that time. And again, we will be also November 9th is our 75th, and I hate to put it this way, but right after we get done celebrating our amazing 75 years of excellence, and we will begin our planning for our party in the park that is going to be taking place in May of 2024. Our big fun day, fundraiser as well, but to help with our Dearworth, we do that foundational charities, charities, right? And so, but it's going to be in May. We'll begin planning and working on that immediately as well. We'll look to have a date for you within the next week or so. We actually have a confirmed reserve date, and then we'll have the shelter and everything to do at the park. So, but then we'll start working on it collectively. Okay. With that as well, I did make mention that during our board meeting, we had a great board meeting, but I wanted to ask if anyone has not, and if you can, I know it's tomorrow, but we are having a membership. It's across the board, across the state, we're having a membership seminar, and they'll be here. We'll be here in the morning, and in the morning we'll be here from 8:30 to 12 noon tomorrow, and we would love to have a couple more of our Rotarians that could be here with us. But it won't be just us. Rotarians from everywhere will be here in our area. That'll be here at the training, at the seminar. So love to see a couple more of us here if you can make it tomorrow morning, 8:30 to 12.
I'll be here.
Really?
Hmm?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and so that's that's tomorrow, and then I wanted to mention that it's not a Rotary thing, but a festival in the park is going on right now at Freedom Park. So that's right down the street from us here. And last week, myself and David and Hugh and Barbara and who else we have? Kevin and Charles. We cleaned up the street right in front of Freedom Park. We did our quarterly duty, cleaned up the street, and I'm gonna walk down there again over the weekend and see if I got to fuss at somebody for putting trash back on our beach boulevard after all that cleaning we did. But just wanted to make that mention there. And then as a reminder, which I didn't say in our general meeting, but in our board meeting, I will be out. When am I be out?
November 7th? I have it written down.
Yeah, in November. In November, I will be out. So I'll be in Indianapolis attending the national. we had our American Legion National Convention was here back in, about 3 weeks ago in Charlotte. And so during that national convention, I was picked as 2 of the persons to represent the state of North Carolina. So I'll be going to the National Legion College. That'll be November, I think it's November 18th, I won't be here. And,
Oh, November 7th?
November 17th,
Yeah,
November 17th, I will not, be here. So, Kelly, and graciously said she will step in, during that time as well. And, we had a great, the last point for me, be quiet, is we had, once again, a great fundraiser to repeat, for the Queen City Honors Flight that was, hosted by our Queen City Impact Hub. Choice and her, amazing, board and members, they did a phenomenal job. They raised over $2,500 that day to add to the match. They did more than match the grant, they exceeded the grant that was given. The Queen City Honors Flight is, they're sent up on October 14th, they'll be flying up, veterans, that morning, with charter planes from American Airlines that only veterans will be on. And they go up to DC for that day to be spoiled and shown, honored, go out and see the monuments. We get to see the tomb on the soldier, and some other monuments that day. And then they'll be back that afternoon at about 5 o'clock, they'll be waiting back in Charlotte. So it's a great, and they've been doing this for a long time, actually. But they do a lot of honoring veterans, and it's really great, that we were able to be a part of Rotary, and be a part of sending veterans up on that day. So with that being said, yes, sir.
One more announcement if I can.
Oh, yeah.
For those who want the sweet spot, don't forget, if you go into the Bill Worthian, you can find a location to order a dozen donuts.
No, thank you.
And if you will do that between now and October 2nd, half of the proceeds will come back to Bill Worth Charities, or to the Foundation for Polio. So that's an opportunity to enjoy some Krispy Kreme donuts, and at the same time make a contribution to the Polio Plus program.
Awesome.
And so, those are the ones with no calories, right?
Right. Wash those out. It was that last treatment that they gave.
And for our guests that didn't know, Rotary International has been on a focus to eradicate polio around the entire world. And we have been having Rotarians volunteering and going on humanitarian efforts in countries that some people will not ever go to, but Rotarians have gone in to help get polio vaccinations in countries all around the world. I apologize, I don't know what countries are left. Afghanistan and Pakistan are the 2 countries left that we need to get the vaccinations into, to help eradicate polio. But all countries around the world, Rotary International has been really intricate in helping to get those vaccinations to children, to the people of those countries. It's been a huge effort, and that's what we're continuing on, what he's referring to. So, were there any other announcements? Anyone online have any announcements, or we have anyone out here that wants to make an
I just want to thank Bob for the donut thing.
announcement?
Had to step away, so I just heard that. Thank you.
Okay, so we're good. Can we do the Happy Dollars, can we do it, can we let the speaker go, the speaker just, yeah.
Are you the president?
I'm gonna allow the speaker to come on so they can, because they have to leave, and they can leave, and then we also be able to finish in an earlier time with the speaker, and then we can, that's fine.
Good to go.
Okay, so would you please introduce our speaker for today?
Well, I've already introduced her, Chisholm. I'll let her come on up and tell us about her organization and why it's so special on the realm of those without home.
Should I stand here or?
You can stand anywhere you want.
Well, just so they can hear you,
My voice is kind of loud.
can I speak it here, or does that move it over?
I think the person right there might be best.
Okay.
As long as.
Floor is yours.
Well, good evening. Is it evening yet?
No.
Afternoon, evening? Afternoon. Well, I jumped all the way to evening. Well, I am Dr. Sandra Chisholm, as Hugh has said, and thank you all for welcoming us here today for me to share the awesomeness that we have going on at Gracious Hands. I am the founder and executive director, current director of Gracious Hands Transitional Housing, whereas that we house homeless women with children. We transition them from homelessness to independent living. While they are in our program, they receive credit repair, budget and finance, a life coach for the women as well as the children. We created a program called Pushing Through the Pain to teach them how to push through whatever trauma they have endured, because as you know, being homeless, they have a lot of trauma that goes on. So we wanted to make sure that we were meeting that need. I'm leaving out, I got a whole lot of things that I'm gonna tell you because it's so amazing. That's a lot that's going on. Most women, when they leave our program, have saved at least $5,000 and raised their credit score about 100 points. I've housed over 350 women. We have successfully transitioned out over 75% of those women. Currently, our waiting list has 403 applicants, meaning that we have so much more work to do. We have so much work to do. We just currently opened up our daycare. Daycare was one of the biggest barriers that we've had. The women can't go to work. It's not that they don't want to work. They don't have anyone to keep the children. So I said, what else can we do? We're doing the budget and finance, the credit repair, the life coaching. We have all of these holistic things, but how can we remove the barrier of childcare? So we had a donor to donate $180,000, and she wanted to know what would I do with that money. And I said, I'll build a daycare. She said, wait a minute, you didn't even have to think about it. I said, yes, because can you imagine if we remove that barrier? That means when the women come into Gracious Hands, they can now go to work. So we are super, super excited about having this daycare. It has changed lives of many thus far. We have women that works for Wells Fargo, Atrium Health, Charter Communications. So the women have decent jobs. However, it's not enough money to make it out in this world. I think you need to be making at least $37 an hour right now to be able to afford the rent in Charlotte. That is not happening on most scales here. So I said, okay, well, what can we do to change the trajectory of that? Home ownership. They have a better chance of becoming homeowners and not having to worry about this inflated rent out here. And then it's something that they can own. They can leave it to their children. So we partner with Dream Key Partners as well as Habitat for Humanity. So I'm super, super excited about that. We have had a young lady that saved $10,000 while she was in our program, raised her credit score about 400 points, and she is now a homeowner. Not only that, she is my assistant director. So the vision that God has given me with Gracious Hands is for me to employ the women that have went through the program. Whom else best to run the program better than those that have gone through it themselves? That means they have the heart, the passion, and the love, because I believe in loving these women and the children back to life. We are one of the only organizations in Mecklenburg County that will take teenage boys. Most organizations would not take boys after the age of 9. I said, that could have been me. I was a single mom. I'm a boy mom, for God's sake. So you mean to tell me that I would have had to consider separating myself from my children? How dare we do that to? How dare we do that to families? So I said, well, I'm the founder of this organization. This is mine. We're gonna take these kids. I said, we're gonna do what? We're gonna take these boys. We're gonna take them. And guess what? We've had 3 teenage boys since we started taking them in that has graduated high school and gone on to college. We have one right now. I'm super excited. He's super excited. He's a senior this year, and he will be going on college tours this fall with our social workers. So I'm super, super excited for that as well. We have a lot more work to do, but we've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've seen a lot. We've grown a lot. I started in a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. I managed to somehow convert one of those rooms into a shower. She didn't tell you she was living there. And it worked. It worked. And that was our beginning. Then we turned around and I kept saying, well, Lord, we need to expand. I had a lady to come and give us $400,000. I took that $400,000 and I purchased us 2 homes. Gracious Hands is a debt-free nonprofit. We own everything that we have by the grace of God. It's not by Sandra, and this is without grants. This is merely people just believing in the mission and believing in what we do. And they just came alongside of us and decided that they wanted to help. So I am super, super excited. I thank you all for having us here. It's so much more that I could say, but I'll have you here forever. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and print out the proposals that we have so that you can really understand what Gracious Hands is and what we have. I know I'm leaving out so much because there's so much that I can tell you. The women and the children both get life coaches. The women have a life coach and the children as well. So we broke down the programs where it's that whatever programs that the women are getting, we're making sure that the children are getting them as well. Because it doesn't make any sense to work solely on mom. We have to make sure that the family is being taken care of whole, all in one, or else it won't work, you know. But I just wanted to bring Miss Octavia and let her share the experience that she had while she was at Gracious Hands. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for having us here. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to answer those.
One question statement question I have is, I've done a lot of volunteer work at the men and women's shelter, in the Charlotte, off of Statesville and Oak Tryon. And when you mentioned about the young males, so I was right in understanding why we weren't seeing their sons at the shelter, because they literally would send a 12-year-old around there with, that's wow. That's wow.
It hurt my whole, it did something to me. It sparked something in me at the same time, but it did something to me because I didn't know either until I started doing this work. And I'm like, what is it possible that a 9-year-old boy can do that you wouldn't want him to come into the shelter with his mom? I don't understand. And I know that's above my thinking a little bit, because I could never fathom it. It just doesn't make any sense. However, as I said, Gracious Hands decided that that's what we were going to do. So Miss Jacqueline is a real estate, she's a guru, she has it, So she and I have been in conversation. So one of our properties, it's a little under half an acre of land. So I want to tear that property down and build 4 2-bedrooms, just like we did with our daycare. It's a 2-bedroom, 4-bath, a kitchen and a living area. I want 4 of those on that property so that we can take in more moms with teenage boys. I just want that property to be dedicated just for that reason, because I have so many on my waiting list that is needed. And I know that would really change the trajectory of these young men's lives because I've seen it work.
How many are you housing at the moment? How many are you able to work with at one time?
Right now, I do 8 families at a time. 8 families at a time.
Zoning with this property, is that already?
Already, I've done all that. We did
So all you need is funding
funding to make it happen.
What is your criteria when you interview folks come in from? What criteria you have?
Well, one of the biggest criteria is they must be working. And I'll tell you why. We can't give our way out of this. So if they're not willing to do it for themselves, I'm not willing to help them either. God said if you take 1 step, I'll make 2. So they have to be working. Or they have to show me that they have applied for work. Because we have to start holding them accountable. The women, they have to be held accountable. There is no accountability in this thing. And I know that that's why we're seeing so much of what's happening. They're not putting their priorities in the right place. And it's just a matter of teaching. We have to teach our way out of this. We can't give our way out of it. So as long as they are working, all classes are mandatory. That's why we have 100% class participation because they're mandatory. It's not a choice. You need this budget and finance, you need this credit review. You need to meet with your therapist every week. So those are things that they must do. And then they have to save 50% of their income. We do charge them to hold them accountable. They pay $50 a week. But the Pampers, the wipes, the deodorant, the tissue, the toothpaste, everything that they need is provided for them because their focus is to just be saving while working on their credit.
Where do you have the classes? Oh, where do you have it?
Oh, at our location.
At your location, every evening or?
We have them every other week. It's 2 different classes.
That's a lot of teaching.
Oh, yes, it's,
That's
gotta
good.
teach our way out of it.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Sonia,
Yes,
Are you-
ma'am,
are you aware of the diaper bank?
I am.
Okay, good. Is that where you get some of your diapers for the children?
I actually am partners with Sac and Harvest Food Bank, so I get a lot of my stuff from there as well, but we have a lot of donors that donate the Pampers as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So in saying, and what she just said about the Pampers, so if there was a big drive, just to get, what do we call them, to get those products, the big drive.
Feminine
so you-
products?
Yes, thank you. So you have a place to store them?
Yeah, so
There's
we actually have a clothing closet, we have 2 storages, no, we actually have 4 storages. But our clothing closet and all of this is on our properties,
Okay,
so we have so much.
you mentioned Second Harvest, so you have a pantry.
So we are communal living,
Yeah.
so we have what I call a community cabinet, because the goal is, I tell them we need each other. So it's a place where strangers become family. So it's not, they cook for each other, everything is done in a family setting.
And I'm asking these questions because my mind is already, is still a drive. So my brain, I get all these people that's associated with to do it, I just wanna make sure it doesn't become a burden, because sometimes you can bring too much and then you
Right,
can't.
right.
So I wanna make sure that.
Well, I'm almost certain between the daycare and the 3 homes that we have and the storage space that we'll be able to
You'll be fine.
accommodate. Yes.
Okay, I look forward to speaking with you.
Likewise.
What about transportation for them? How do they get to work?
Most women have their own transportation. The beauty of it is, and the way that I normally try to do it is if they come in and they don't have transportation, one of the houses is on the bus line, the bus is directly in front of that house. I would put those women and children in that location. But the women that have transportation, I'll move them to our Oneida property.
How big is your daycare?
It's 900 square feet.
I'm just ask that wrong. How many children are in your daycare and who are there graduates of your program who are employed at the daycare, or did you need to employ someone?
Well, these are women that weren't actually in Gracious Hands program that's with the daycare, but they are women that we have helped in some kind of way. So what happens is when we are full and say that it may be a family that we found out that is on the street, we are helping with a hotel, or we are helped pay a light bill or whatever, if it's in our budget. If that makes sense.
And how are you fundraising?
We do various things. We have a jazz festival. We've just been doing our annual jazz festival because that one is the one that brings in the most money. I gave up on the rest. Just to be honest, it brings in the most money, the jazz. People love jazz and food.
Yeah.
So we do that yearly. However, a lot, as I said, a lot of people that are just associated with us is where most of the money comes from. It really
Do you
does.
get help from the city council or?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am. So I'm not state or federally funded.
Do you have any churches that you deal with?
Yes. Mallard Creek, Myers Park, they are 2 of the biggest. They really bless.
Which Mount Park?
Baptist. Yes.
Okay.
One last, how many of your folks are there because they're escaping domestic violence?
Currently, I have 2. Yeah, so that's the beauty of our organization as well, is that I don't just we're not limited to. So we're not just a domestic violence, it's for whatever reason that you are displaced and you need a place for you and your children. But yes, sir, right now it is too.
Do you have a relationship with the basic auto mechanic base that will help discount those who do have vehicles?
I do not, I would love to need that. Definitely need that. Oh God, I need that so bad. Yes.
So when someone makes application, you said you have a list, sounding like a huge list of people that would like to be there.
Yes, sir.
How long, once you get on the list, how long do you take before you might be able to get on?
Right now, my list is 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months.
Yes, sir. 6 to 8 months.
That's a long time.
It is, but I try, so what we do is we created our own resource list, where it's that we try to steer them in the right way, or, you know, call ourselves to try to find some places for them to
I'm
go.
still working on them, so whatever you can find for them.
Yes, sir. I don't like to just leave them, well, we're full, and that's the end of the conversation. You know, if it's something that we can do and that's in our power, we absolutely do this.
Excuse me for saying that, but some people, they wait for years. They call and be like, I've been on the waiting list for a year. You have somewhere. You have a place.
And that could be because, you know, every mom is different, so it's not a blueprint. It's not a one for all. We have to meet them where they are. And I truly believe in meeting them where they are, you know? So I may get someone that come in and their credit score is 300. And then I may also have a mom that came through the door and her credit score is 600. So we know that she's not gonna have to be here that long, other than to get, you know, some love, because that's what they be needing. They just need some signs of love. And but you know, that one with a 300 credit score, it may take them 18 months. Because we know it's a process. We're raising your credit score. So the waiting list we're anticipating 6 to 8 months, but if it may take this one that's here 8 months to move, an additional 8 months to move out.
I was gonna ask, they
Yes.
stay longer.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As long as they're doing what they're supposed to do and following their plan and saving their money, because I am a stickler for that. I really am a stickler for that. Because I tell them, listen, $50 a week, you can't live anywhere for that. And that's just to hold you accountable. There's no way I'm gonna allow you not to save the 50%. I am a stickler for that. They have to work on their credit and they have to save that money.
What is the typical stay, if I can put it that way, of most of your payments?
It could be 6 months and it can be a year.
How do you, keep track of if they are telling the truth, that they're saving this much? How do you hold them?
Dr. Sandra is all over. It's something put in place. So they have to show us their check stubs and they have to show us their monthly bank statements. So they are held accountable. So, and we do not hold their money. They have to open up a bank account. If they don't have one, they have to show us their bank statements and their check stubs. And that's how we hold them accountable for that.
How do you raise your credit score 400 points in a year?
I'll let her tell her story, because it's her.
I mean, you help with that.
I mean, she just followed her plan. I mean, certain things that you can
But
get
don't
off.
you need to have, like, show that you paid your rent, or you paid your mortgage?
No, you have to show that you paid things that was on your credit that made your credit be that bad.
And that's a lot of what I did. Before I came in Gracious Hands, I was already doing good financially, but I was escaping domestic violence, as you said earlier. So it was just like, I was already doing good, but my last straw is when my child's father, he was choking me in front of her. And I looked at her eyes and she was looking at me. And that day I was just like, I have to go. And I looked online, I sat in the park in my car, I looked online, the shelters, came across my sign. I called her crying, because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't have any family that I could go to. And she was like, I wanna see you on Monday. And this is a Friday. She was like, I wanna see you on Monday. And I already had a job, so I could win. She was like, you moving in today? She said, you moving in today. So my credit was already building, my credit score. I just needed somewhere to stay. You know, I didn't need this person around me or my daughter. And so I know one day I told Miss Maya, I went in her office, I said, I got approved for an apartment. My first apartment that I don't have to, nobody else is on the lease. She said, apartment? I said, yes. She was like, no, you about to go through this home ownership class and get this home. And I'm mad, and I'm like, I don't wanna do that. I'm ready to move right now. She was just like,
And not to interrupt her, but the reason that I told her no is because it was a Section 8 apartment. And I told her that's poverty living.
Yes.
That is poverty living and it's poverty thinking. And we won't be doing that here, is what I told her. I say, so you might as well go ahead and call those people and tell them that if this was a conversation, that you are taking that. That's not where you're taking yourself or Taylor. You are going to be a homeowner. I can't. Who told you that? I'm telling you, you can. And I know you can, and you're gonna do it.
and I
And
did
it's
it.
done.
And I did it. And so that was one of the advantages of me coming into the program, because I was already working, you know, I already had credit cards, but my daughter's father, it was just like, he was maxing them out. And so I was raising my credit score already, you know, and I'm one of the cases where I didn't have to be there for a long time. But I had to, and it's just like in the process of getting my own home, I got discouraged. I couldn't find nowhere. People were outbidding me, you know. And when I did find my own place, it was just like my closing date was pushed 3 months. Like, it's always getting pushed, and I'm like, I should have took that apartment. But then I finally found somewhere, and it was just like, it was the beginning of January. And Marlota, she was just like, I'm for sure, this is through COVID. She was just like, I'm for sure you are closing that day. And when I closed, so happy, me and my daughter, I said, I'm sorry, Miss Science, but we're going to our place. We didn't have no furniture, but we slept on the floor that night because I was so excited. Just being there, I'm sorry. And working for Miss Anya now, just being there and having the women to call and be like, I don't have anywhere to go. I still feel that in my heart. Because at the point where me and my daughter is sitting in the park, and she's thinking, oh, I'm about to go play. And in my head, I'm thinking, we don't have nowhere to stay. But I can't tell this 2-year-old that we don't have nowhere to go. And I wasn't going back to her father. I can't tell her that. And through the program, she's thinking, she's 2, so she's not, one of the older children. So she's 2, so she's thinking, oh, all these kids around, I love it here. I got people to play with. But I felt like at that point, I had failed her as a mother. I had failed her. And it's just like the domestic violence. It's just like when I came, my self-esteem was so low. And Miss Sonia, she was just like, I'm gonna love you back to life. And it was plenty of days that I went in there in her office crying. She was like, don't do that. We not gonna do that. Nothing but positive energy. Because I wanted to go back to him. Plenty of days. But I couldn't put my daughter back through that process. I couldn't do that to her. And so here I am, a homeowner, back in school for social work, my bachelor's, and I'm just happy. And when Miss Sonia, she told me when I left, she said, you coming back and you're working for me. And it's been 3 years, and I'm like, what's going on? And she said that I was coming back working for her. And she called me 3 months ago, and she said, Octavia, I said, yes, ma'am. She said, are you ready? I said, yes, ma'am. When do I start? And I've been there ever since. And so I'm loving it. Like I said, I can really, when I talk to the ladies on the phone, I can really just feel what they're saying because I've been in that situation. So I can have them conversations with them. I talk a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what
So it's just kind of like I told Miss Sonia, we need to move this girl in Miss Sonia. Well, we gonna put in that activity. She's like, I don't know.
If we could move, and that's what I love about her, because she definitely has my heart. And if we could take everyone in, we absolutely would. But we don't have the room. The vision is never, to have an institutionalized setting. I always want a home setting because I always want the children to feel as though that they're at home. When you walk in those doors right now, you wouldn't know that you are in a transitional house.
Absolutely.
Those children know that they are loved and you can feel it. I'm not just speaking it, and I welcome each and every, she's been there, she can attest. She's been there before. So I welcome any of you to come for a tour because I love to show it off a little bit. I'm absolutely proud of what I have accomplished. What we have accomplished in 8 years. It's absolutely amazing. And to do so without federal funding, it's just, it's amazing.
Yep, and
Okay.
3 years later, my daughter, can I go to Miss Tanya's house? And I'm like, we can't stay there no more, but we could go over there and visit. But now she wants to come and work with me just to see Miss Tanya. But I talk a lot, I'm sorry.
It was a great story. And to answer your question in a nutshell, what she did was by getting away from the other individual who was basically on those credit cards, probably putting a stop on those cards and paying them down at an accelerated rate. That's where the credit score companies started raising her up quickly. And now she's probably at a point that if she puts it on the card this month, she pays it off this month.
Absolutely. And I had multiple credit, I'm sorry. I had multiple credit cards at that point of her payment. But doing a domestic violence, when you're in a domestic violence situation, you can't say no. I can't say no, I'm not gonna do this, because you know what's gonna happen. If you say no. I'm sorry, okay, I'm not gonna say anything.
I just wanna share, so I'm gonna come on the other side, right, of the conversation. And I wanna talk about real quickly, Dr. Chisholm. So, Dr. Chisholm is a visionary. The Bible says if we write the vision, make it plain, others will take it and will run with it. And that's exactly what has happened. So when you say, when you ask questions, like, okay, how are you funding this? How are you doing that? Well, it's the giving of finance, gifts, talents, and she is a strategic planner. And also humble enough to gather people who have the different skills, background to fill in those gaps. So as she mentioned earlier, okay, you got 400 people on the waiting list. What are we going to do? She mentioned that she had properties. She's able to house some women there, but how do we make the highest and best use of that? And so that's what we're talking about. I'm working with her on those things, strategizing. So there's strategic conversations going on constantly with all walks of life to fill in those gaps so that we can address those issues. And so it really is something to see because there's a lot of energy behind it, but there's a lot of practical application, not only in the day-to-day of the programming and laying it out, but also in thinking forward, in the strategic planning of that, to the point where she's getting phone calls from folks all over the country. Can you show us what you're doing and how you did this? So pretty soon, she's going to be, what do you call it? Teaching the teachers. all right? So that she can take what she's done and go out there and duplicate herself. That's what we need to happen. We need to have some more Dr. Sonias, strategically placed to do this. And so I just wanted to share that, that perspective, because I'm proud. And I'm very particular, where I sow the seed, right? Our pearls, we gotta be strategic where we do that, because that's what God gave us to work with. And this is the girl.
Amen.
That's it.
You don't have to.
Oh, no,
I like the way, I thought you were a little right.
Oh, but, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and meet. I know Don wanted to speak to me about something, though. You can get my number from you.
Okay.
You wanna do that?
And I got-
Oh, yeah, you have it there. And if y'all have any questions, and as I said, if you ever want to come for a visit, please do. And just let me know that you're coming, and we'll have lunch ready for you too. I like to feed folks as well.
Actually, that'd be-
Not chasing you off, but I just thought you guys.
Lunch was.
And,
Lunch was
Thank
great.
you.
and before you leave, you have. I got it, Marjorie. Before you leave, we are about the environment and protecting our environment, and as the Rotary, does, and we got something to touch on it as a token of our appreciation of you all being here. And, really appreciate you being here, so we'll see you in Whole Foods and wherever, carrying your own bag,
Yes.
so. You are very welcome, so really.
Daryl, I had one question
Oh, okay.
have you heard of the LIFT program, the LIFT Act? The new
No.
act that they're trying to do, the Low Income First Time Home Buyers Act. And you should take a look at that, because they're trying to pass that act where first time home buyers would be able to buy it at a lower interest rate and things like that. I can forward you that information.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll get your email. And I have another thing. We had done something similar. I was part of another Inner Wheel club, and we had, for the women that come in, homeless women or women with kids and stuff like that, we did a program where we did small loans to these women. And there was just a very small loan. Maybe it was like 5,000, 2,000 or 3,000. They had a business plan, and we gave them a loan, and we helped them accountable. And quite honestly, they actually took that money because they had kids. They weren't able to go out and work somewhere else, leaving their children at home. They had started this business at home, and they actually paid us the money back. So it was at a very it was personal loans that we did, and that was a very successful program for women, who didn't have the means. So that's something maybe you can think of.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll make sure she's in touch with you.
Please, please, do.
Thank you, Marjo.
all so much for having us.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, that's the first location. That's the main location.
I will.
Thank you so much. Okay, okay, and I'll just shoot you an email.
I got a lot more to share with you.
Okay, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's Jen.
You, yes, I'm sorry.